Hey there, hi everybody. So just giving the folks who are joining a couple of minutes before it's top of the hour so that everybody can join in. And so yeah, it is the 10 o'clock mark. So let's get started and welcome everyone for from wherever you're joining. Whether it's good morning, good evening, or good afternoon. Welcome everybody. My name is Balabharati and I'm from the product marketing team at HYCU. And today the focus is going to be on D365, which is something that is often overlooked by backup admins and data protection strategies typically. And so really kudos to you all for being here and trying to be proactive in learning about D365 protection. So by the end of this session, my aim is to make sure that you all walk away with having learned three things. That is why your D365 data is more exposed than you think, and what real recovery looks like in Dynamics 365, and how Haiku is different from every other vendor in the market. So before we get into it, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box, and I'll try to answer all questions that I can. And in case for any reason that I'm not able to answer, you can I'll make sure to get in touch with you or an email regarding your question. So let's get started. So, for those of you who are not very familiar with what Haiku does, who we are, I just wanted to give an introduction. So, Bain Capital and Acru are the two primary investors for Haiku, and apart from them, we also have investment from the investment arms of big names like Cisco, Okta, and Atlassian. So we are really happy about the fact because these are some really big names in the industry, and for them to have placed trust on us and our technology, that is a big testament. We feel that it is a big testament to our capabilities. And we have presence all across the globe, and we have several federal institutions and governments and government departments all across the globe, along with some real big corporate names as well among our customers. And our alliances with the big names in the infrastructure space is also there for you to see. And this is from something that I wanted to highlight from the latest IDC MarketScape for SaaS data protection that was released last year. Haiku was marked as the leader. You can see like a clear gap between Haiku and the next vendor there in the report. So Haiku, when it comes to SaaS data protection, Haiku was given the leadership position in IDC's report. And we've also been recognized consistently over the years by other analysts as well, like GigaOM and Gartner. We found leadership position, visionary position in their reports as well. So today, the my assumption is the audience who gathered here today know about Dynamics 365 much more than I do. So I don't want to bore the audience, you all, with the details about Dynamics 365. What I want to talk about is why we've started with these three modules. So we recently launched the Dynamics 365 data protection, and we've started off with these three modules. And when Dynamics 365 has 11 modules, what we've noticed is the customers who we've spoken with, the prospects who we've spoken with, we've got the feeling that these three are the key modules which provides a lot of value and is very critical for the businesses that we are talking to. So we will be looking into expanding our coverage into other modules of Dynamics 365. But for today, this is the starting point that we have. And these three modules by themselves, that is the sales module, customer service, and field service module, still cover a lot of where your business runs, the opportunities that are there in sales module, and every interaction, every cases that your customer service team is handling, and every customer's custom workflow that your teams have built. They are all significant to how your business operates today, and which makes the question of what happens when these data is lost very interesting, really. And with Dynamics 365, the fact is, what we've observed is it's not always something that grabs headlines. The data loss or disruption in Dynamics 365, it's not always going to be a ransomware attack or any such thing that really grabs headlines. Of course, there is the risk of ransomware attack on Dynamics 365, but if you look at practice, what's going on in reality, it's often a misconfiguration. It's often an accidental bulk deletion by some admin, or it's an automation workflow that goes wrong. It's a migration effort that didn't go according to plan. And these are the kind of scenarios that result in D365 data loss. And the cost is not really just the rebuild effort alone. Of course, there is a huge cost involved in getting your data back, and with Dynamics 365, things become more complex because data is not just data, right? They are interconnected, very complex connections between them. The relationships become very important with Dynamics 365, and everything rebuilding that manually is going to take a lot of effort. But then the revenue implications, if you look at the 1 day or 12 hours of lost customer service module, or your field service goes down for 12 hours or 24 hours or whatever it is, the customers are going to suffer. Your customers are going to suffer. You are going to miss your SLAs, and your customers are going to have a poor experience, and ultimately and unfortunately will result in churn and revenue impact, and those kind of things will also happen. So the entire rebuilding data part is also there, which is very time consuming and a costly process involving multiple people over multiple weeks. And then there is also the customer impact and revenue impact side of the story that also needs to be looked into. But still, Dynamics 365 is not at the top of like priorities for data protection and backup. Backup. When you're talking to data protection vendor, you're not really going to talk about Dynamics 365 as the first thing that tops your priority list. That is mainly because of this misconception that is normally associated with SaaS. And this is from the State of SaaS Resilience survey that we published towards the end of last year. And what makes this very interesting is the fact that these respondents are not just normal folks. These are people who have knowledge, who have exposure and experience in data protection and backing up, and being IT administrators themselves. And they have built careers on looking after administrative activities. And for this group of people to believe that their SaaS vendor actually is responsible for their SaaS data, it's a very interesting scenario. And it's also a very expensive misconception. But I mean, the misconception exists partly because that is what Microsoft wants you to think, because not just Microsoft, any other SaaS vendor, that is what they don't talk much about the shared responsibility model. This is something that is often like the vendors try to keep it hidden from their customers, if that makes sense. Like, it's not something that is very highly publicized for whatever reason. And from this diagram, it's very clear. We try to make it very clear in the diagram. Like, whatever is on the left side of this line is Microsoft responsibility. So if you look at what it is about keeping your data center and infrastructure and service availability and service uptime. So these kind of things is what Microsoft is responsible for. But as customer, you own data protection and recovery. That means you are responsible for protecting your CRM records, whether it is from accidental deletion or misconfigurations, or whether you want to meet your own retention or compliance requirements, or whether you want to build a recovery strategy where you want to pick and choose exactly what you've lost. That is completely on you. That is not Microsoft's responsibility to take care of your data. They look after their platform, and you look after the data of yours. So if you double click on Microsoft's capabilities, which are misconceived as data protection capabilities, and you look deep into what they are really, they are data availability tooling. That is all they are. So, for example, you get automated environmental backups with a hard ceiling of 28 days. So you cannot extend the ceiling of 28 days like you would with data protection, and you cannot export the data. You cannot granularly pick and choose what you want to restore. So Microsoft calls it point in time restore, and what it actually means is your production needs to go offline and it gets converted to a sandbox environment, and from there you do an entire environmental rollback. So this means you are looking at hours of downtime and loss of data between the restore point and everything since the restore point is basically gone. You didn't really recover in a particular data, a particular record, or a table. You are doing an entire environmental rollback, which means a lot of data loss is bound to happen. And the recycle bin, again, it's very often misconceived to be a data protection tooling, but again, it doesn't cover a lot of data protection scenarios. Like it doesn't cover overwrites, it doesn't cover corrupted data, and it is also coming with a 30-day ceiling. So, and it doesn't work on all types of data as well. Like a lot of data doesn't really go into a recycle bin. For a lot of tables in Dynamics 365, recycle bin is not really applicable. So again, if you look closely at all these, it's essentially availability tooling. It's not data protection at all. And which is why platforms like HYCU, rCloud exist to give data protection to Dynamics 365. And rCloud is the same platform that HYCU deals with when protecting not just Dynamics 365, but other SaaS workloads like M365, like all your Azure workloads and other public cloud workloads, whether it is AWS or Google Cloud Services or SaaS applications like Atlassian or Workday or Salesforce. Anything and everything protected by HYCU is done through our cloud platform. So the features that you see here, like completely autopilot backups, that is, you set policies once and you forget it, and then you retain your backups for as long as you want, and you pick and choose the exact piece of data that has been lost. And all these capabilities are applicable to the entire platform, meaning they are applicable to all data that you protect with the platform, not just Dynamics 365. We'll, of course, look into what Dynamics 365 specific capabilities we have. But we believe data protection is a platform problem, which is why we built this Arcloud platform, so that this doesn't act like a point product for protecting one or two products alone. It's the single platform that any business can use to protect their entire tech stack. That is really the aim of our cloud platform. And with this, this is our Microsoft coverage. The most recent addition to this HYCU's coverage in Microsoft is Dynamics 365 and Azure DevOps. But if you look at the picture closely, it's essentially the entire or the most critical parts of all Azure and Microsoft workloads are covered here. So if you are a Microsoft shop, and you don't really need to look beyond HYCU really, because we cover your infrastructure, we cover your storage, we cover the critical SaaS applications like Dynamics 365, along with GitHub and DevOps and M365. And then there is the identity layer also that we protect, that is the intra ID. So essentially, we cover all Microsoft and Azure services with a single platform, and this platform can also be used for workloads that are far beyond Microsoft's coverage as well. So with D365, like one of the limitations we spoke about when we are talking about Microsoft's native capabilities was how it supports only full environment restore. But what HYCU allows you to do is go and pick the exact record, whether it is one particular account or one particular contact or one particular table, whatever it is that you have lost or you want to recover. You can go and pick and choose exactly what it is that you want to recover and restore it. And the beauty of it is the fact that we take care of the relationships as well. So when you recover an account and say if the opportunities associated with the account and the contacts associated with the opportunities are all lost, but then you have accounts, you have opportunities, you have contacts. You still got to go back and do all the relationship recovery by yourself. So that is not a very pleasant thing to do. That is not something that we want our customers to do. And unfortunately, that is the market reality today. If you look at other vendors who are actually offering Dynamics 365 data protection, there is a lot of limitations around relationship recovery. And we have made it a point to address that gap in the market and make sure that when you recover a data from a table or a record from our cloud using our cloud, we make sure that the relationships are also retained, their relationships are also intact, so that your service, your module is ready to run after recovery. And the set and forget policies that we that I was talking about earlier. So once you're done with configuring your Dynamics 365, which is a one-time process again, the only thing that you need to do really is fill up this dialog box. It's literally as simple as that. That is how we see backups. We made backups so simple that once you fill up this new policy dialog box and you assign policies to your workloads, the backups are going to just keep running. And as per the policies, as per your policies, we do not tell that you can only do one backups per day, or we can only do retain your data for so much of time, and so on. So it's completely flexible. You define the terms of your backup, whether you want to where you want to store, or how often you want to backup, and how long you want to backup. Everything is completely defined by you. And once you set policies, and backups are going to automatically run as per the policies that you've set. So this is something that I think is very interesting in the context of Dynamics 365, because we always believed bring your own storage, that is BIOS model, is how true resilience is achieved. So that has been our philosophy right from the beginning. We let our customers control where their backups look. And in this regard, like a small customer story that I want to share, that essentially captures the entire essence of our philosophy very well, is this customer who is a Europe-based consumer goods company. So they were evaluating HYCU along with a few other vendors for M365 data protection, Microsoft 365. And they asked one of our competitors a very simple question, like, your solution, it takes our Microsoft data and places it into your Microsoft storage. That is a competitor managed Microsoft storage. So what happens when the entire region goes down? That is, the Azure storage of the entire region goes down. And then the competitor's responses, I'm quoting the competitor, not like they called it an act of God. And they told that they cannot really protect against such scenarios. But in today's day and age, this is how mature data protection thinking works. You should be asking your vendors the same question. Like, if you're going to take your Microsoft data and place it in Microsoft's infrastructure, the possibility or the probability of the both going down at the same time is significant. And really, in today's day and age, you wake up to funny news every day. And if you wake up to a news of the entire region, a cloud infrastructure provider's entire region going down, I don't think anybody is going to be surprised anymore. That is today's world. And we really got to stay protected against such scenarios, and that is what we enable our customers to do. Because what we tell our customers is, you take your Microsoft data and you place it in another cloud or any S3 compatible storage that you control, and by doing so, your resilience is significantly up. Like, it's all a matter of probability when it comes to resilience. So two cloud vendors being down at the same time is significantly less probable than one cloud's entire region going down. So that is how you become truly resilient. That is what we've always believed. And off late, I'm glad that a lot of our customers who are really maturing in their data protection thinking are also able to see the real value of taking your data from one cloud and placing it on another cloud as backup. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what true resilience is all about, and that is what HYCU offers you today. And With that, I want to highlight some of the gaps in today's market, because Dynamics 365 data protection has been offered by other vendors, by our competitors for quite a while. Like some vendors are in the market for 2 years, 3 years, and so on. But we really believe that our solution is in a much better position than a lot of other vendors' solution at the moment. Because relationship our recovery, if you look at any other vendor who's offering this Dynamics 365 data protection, they have documented limitations around relationship recovery. They suggest you can do relationship recovery up to a certain level, like 3 level or a particular level only. They cannot go on and on with the relationship recovery. But we do not have any such limitation. And when it comes to full environment restore, a lot of vendors actually suggest using Microsoft's native capabilities for full environment restore. So you essentially you are depending on two vendors for your Dynamics 365 data protection. You go to a third party vendor and you use their product for granular recovery, and then you are dependent on Microsoft for your full environment restore. But with HYCU, you just need HYCU. So we are capable of providing both granular recovery as well as complete full instance recovery as well. And the storage model story that I told you about, again, most of the other vendors, they just offer managed storage, which is worse if this managed storage is also Microsoft's infrastructure. Some vendors provide other clouds infrastructure as managed infrastructure, but still it is there is a layer of vendor management in between. But with HYCU, we allow you to bring your own storage, and we store your backups there, so you're in complete control of your data, and you're going to define your company's, your business's resilience story by storing the data in your own storage. And talking about platform breadth, particularly with Dynamics 365 data protection, like a lot of vendors who are mature and or offering good Dynamics 365 offering are restricting themselves to Microsoft's offering or M365 and Dynamics 365, or they have point products for different products. Even one particular company can have multiple point products for and different UIs for different SaaS services. But with HYCU, our coverage is so strong. It's not just Microsoft. We go well beyond Microsoft as well. We do protect Dynamics 365, M365, and Azure services, like I told. But then our coverage is not just restricted to Microsoft. We go into other clouds, AWS services, Google Cloud services, and then all other key SaaS applications that you can think of. Every top SaaS application is there in our coverage, whether it is Atlassian or Salesforce or any other top SaaS application that you can think of. And we also provide coverage for your on-prem workloads like Nutanix and VMware as well. So this is also something that a lot of other our competitors are not able to do. They are focused on a couple of offerings. They are focused on a couple of vendors, and then the customers, our customers, they often complain or talk to us about having this huge number of tools, which they call tool sprawl for protecting different SaaS services and different cloud services. They within a matter of 2-3 years, they evaluate multiple vendors, and they seem to be ending up with multiple data protection vendors as well, each for a different SaaS service, which is also a problem that we are trying to address with our platform, with our breadth and depth of capabilities across the SaaS workloads. We can simply be the only platform that you will ever need when it comes to SaaS and cloud data protection. So that is it really. So as final parting thoughts, I just want to leave you with these thoughts. Like I told, relationship aware recovery is something that we focused on. We built keeping relationship aware recovery in our mind, so that you're not in a position to go back and manually rebuild relationships after recovering your data. And then you're not just looking at granular recovery. HYCU provides you option to pick and choose exactly what you want, or do full instance recovery as well. Both are capable. We are capable of doing both with the same R-Cloud platform. And then your data is always going to be in your control, and you get to define your resilience strategy by taking your Microsoft data and placing it in an S3 storage that you control, so that you are resilient against cloud vendor disruptions as well. And we are the only platform that you need for the entire Microsoft estate and all other SaaS and cloud workloads as well. So this is it really. Do we have any questions? Okay, there is a question around the pricing. So the pricing we do per user pricing. It is $4 per user per month at the moment, and this is the list price that I'm talking about. So the actual pricing that you will be paying will be something that's dependent on a lot of other factors, like with any other vendor, any other product that we offer. It depends on the region that you are, the discussions that you have with the sales, and the amount of workloads that you're protecting, and anything apart from Dynamics 365 also can have a role to play in deciding the price that you pay. But the list price is $4 per user per month. And Business Central is not something that we have coverage for today. That is, I see that as the other question. So Dynamics 365 Business Central is being evaluated, but it's not in our roadmap as of now. So don't see any other question. So yeah, thanks a lot, folks, for being a wonderful audience, and thanks a lot for joining and spending time listening to how HYCU can help you with Dynamics 365 data protection. Thank you.